Hello everyone, I've got a bumper edition for you as we go through September, October and November releases, mostly for Infinity the Game, but I'm also going to show you some more Croker stuff. But before I dive into that, I do want to do a couple of special thank yous. One of them is to Distant Vale, the painting studio in New Zealand. Going to be doing some work with them over the next month while I talk to them about how to paint quick but well. They've sent me this model, which actually is a fantastic contribution to my Shindenbu tie. They've also sent me some dice from Baron of Dice. I do have a set from them already and absolutely love it, but it's really great to see some more ones. And in addition to that, you might see a new faction appear on my channel if you follow me on Instagram, where I do take photos of battles when I do have them. This Imperial Service action pack that they've painted up is going to be featuring in a couple of games. So if you see something a little bit different, September kicked things off strong with releases hitting on roughly the 26th of the month. We've got expansion packs for 3 major factions, we got 2 hero models, and the ITS Season 17 tournament pack. Starting off with one of those expansions, Haqqislam Ramah Task Force Expansion Pack Alpha. So first up for Haqqislam players, this Ramah Task Force Expansion Pack Alpha is a really good addition to your force, as you probably would have known if you're following that faction. This pack brings 3 solid additions with it. A Hunzerkut with rifle, a Hortlak with SMG, and a Facid with heavy rocket launcher. If you're running Ramah, these are versatile additions that give you some nice tactical flexibility. The Facid with heavy rocket launcher. Look at the profile for that one. It's going to cost you 1.5 SWC and 44 points if you run it. What you see is what you get. It's got albedo -3, which is a lovely addition. Mine Layer with shock mines. It's got combat instinct. It's also rocking Sixth Sense. It's got Warhorse if you're coming up against things with their BS attack -3. The hybrid rocket launcher version gets BS +1 special dice for extra brutality. Then we have the Hunzerkut with rifle, which could be either 15 or 19 points if you're going to play it. What you see is what you get from the box. It comes with camouflage, infiltration, it's a regular, mimetism -3, stealth, surprise attack -3, and it's got terrain total if you're playing a mission that has tricky little terrain area. The rifle versions, there's 2 of them. Both of them are forward observers, one with a deployable repeater. Then the third model in this pack, we've got a Hortlak with a submachine gun, which could be 27, 28, or 29 points if you're going to run it as an SMG version. It has MSV1, BS SR -1, combat instinct, immunity to shock, mimetism -3, NWI. It's also a religious trooper, and it's got stealth. The APSMG has 3 profiles. One's a chain of command, so it could be very situationally good to include in your list. One has a deactivator. These are some serious units. I'd be able to find a place, I think, for the Hunzerkuts in my lists, especially if I were a Haqqislam player and I was running Layla Sharif or a Tuareg. The box itself has a what you see is what you get lower points value of 86 and an upper value of 92, representing very good value if you are bolstering your army or giving some flexibility or trying to reach that 300 point threshold. Mini ratings, the Facid. Quite a bit of an old school Corvus Belli coming through with the very rounded armor. I find some of the hack sculpts blend US Ariadna, in my opinion, and don't always look futuristic enough for me. While I don't condone the ripping off of IP, having them look more Dune-esque would make me very happy. This one's going to get a 4 out of 10 for me. It's good. I need to check up on my lore because I'd always imagined Ramah to be desert-based, so I'm unsure why a fur-lined jacket is needed. I do know it gets cold at night in the desert, but yeah. The pose on this is different to the classic leg up on a tactical rocks. Get a middling 5 out of 10. This is more of your iconic Haqqislam, in my opinion. But the goggles resting on the mask confuse me slightly, if they even are goggles. The armor plating is stunning, and I think would be very, very fun to paint. Solid tactical rock, and a nice aggressive pose that doesn't result in the classic problem of not being able to face exactly where you want to, because of something jabbing the wall that you're hiding up against, making that placement very, very impossible. So for this one, the result, a very respectable and honourable 6 out of 10. Next up, we're on Yu Jing Imperial Service Expansion Pack Gamma. The Imperial Service Expansion Pack Gamma includes a Kuang Fang with SMG and 2 Jinwei variants. One with adhesive launcher rifle, and with an emitter. Great for players looking to flesh out their Imperial Service Sectorials, especially if you jumped on the Imperial Service launchers. The Quinfang with submachine gun, 24 or 26 points, depending on which one you run. BS attack +1 burst, dodge +1 inch, limiters of -3, religious, specialist operative, stealth, terrain total, killer hacker parachutist for 24 points with firewall -3. There's also the hacking device parachutist with firewall -3 for 26 points. Forward observer, hidden deployment, infiltration for 26, which I think is a good option. Then we've got a Jinwei with adhesive launcher rifle with 18 to 19 points. That's BS attack +1 burst, immunity to BTS, religious, remote presence, sensor, sixth sense, Timbot -3. For me, it makes it a natural feature in a Cien duo fire team to potentially protect the heavy infantry if you're not taking the firewall -6 version or in a Celestial Guard fire team. Then there's the Jinwei with emitter for 23 points. This one's got triangulated fire, which is quite a cool feature, I think, on something like the Jinwei. The minimum points value for this box is 60, with an upper value sitting at around 64. So not a major swing from minimum to maximum, unlike what we're going to see in some of the other boxes. From a mini ratings perspective, Jinwei. Controversially, I love this sculpt. It's different to anything else in Yu Jing, and I love that CB are pushing the Imperial Service design into something borderline outlandish. The Cyclops crab head is a real hit for me, as are the chunky upper legs. This is probably a bonkers 8 out of 10, but it really goes to how much I appreciate when CB take the design language of a faction in a very unique direction. Quinfang. It's a nice solid Yu Jing infantry sculpt that gets a simple 5.5 out of 10. And in no way, because I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Nomads. Switchers. Grappa. These ones. Now here's where things get really interesting. The Switchers Grappa for Nomads is a 4 miniature metal set featuring the Switcher unit and an enhanced version plus 2 mad traps. This thing is just pure Nomads chaos energy, and I'm here for it. I love that it's the before and after mini for the Switcher. I know Corvus Belli have done this before, but I appreciate that from playing against it, being able to see which state it's in very easily. The Switcher unit, so the normal unit, has courage, it's got dogged, it's got tactical awareness, it's got transmutation on whip, which is key if you're going to be upgrading it or transmuting it. And then 6-4 move, then the enhanced profile is a 6-4 move up from a 4-4, CC 23 up from CC 15, BS 13 up from BS 12, PH 14 up from PH 10, Arm 3 up from Arm 1, X Visor, Berserk +3, Courage, Dodge +2 inches, Dogged, Immunity BTS, Martial Arts 2, and it's got the tactical awareness from the Switcher profile. And then obviously we've got the Mad Trap side of things as well. Remember that Mad Traps are quite a cool unit if you haven't faced them. They immobilize their target, they kind of wrap them in a big glue hug, and they don't need line of sight to trigger. As soon as something walks into that 8-inch zone of control, that would trigger the Mad Trap to then go and give them a big glue hug. The box is the 21-point version. From a mini rating perspective, the concept is cool. I actually think the models are really nice. If you're not into the Nomad cyber augmented kitten warrior thing, then these may not be up your alley. But I do keep coming back to loving anything that really sets one faction apart from another. And the further apart these factions go in terms of their styling, the more I love it. I do love the polarizing designs, as I feel it supports the lore of the human sphere and accentuates the history of each faction whilst giving fans more to lean into if that's the thing they like. So this is going to get an 8.5 out of 10. I promise I'm not just giving everything really high scores because I'm in a good mood. It's just, I like them. Hero models. September also brought us 2 hero releases. Lei Gong for Invincible's Lord of Thunder for Yu Jing, a powerful hero model that adds some serious presence to your forces. I actually did stumble on this when I was doing I do research these videos, shockingly. And when I was researching this video, I did find it odd because I went to the CB website to look for Lei Gong, and it said the model was discontinued. So I was like, oh, that's really weird. Why are we republishing something that's been discontinued? And then realized it's actually just a new listing that literally says like Yu Jing Hero Lei Gong, Lord of Thunder. So keep that in mind if you're looking up for this model and trying to buy it. Go for the one that has the hero in the title, because that's actually available. They're exactly the same model, different SKUs. This isn't a new release, as it was released in N4. It's kind of more of a re-release. The same with the next model, Wolfgang Amadeus Wolf for Nomads. Because of course, Nomads get a hero with a name like that. Why wouldn't they? I originally had the same issue with Wolfgang, but realized it's also just a different product listing, literally called Nomads Hero Wolfgang Amadeus Wolf. So don't fall into the same trap that I have done if you're seeking them. The first version of Wolfgang, for those of you that like a bit of background on the models, is actually available as a limited edition sculpt in the pre-order bundle of Crimson Stone. That's that sculpt there. And so this represents the single mini release, which of course Belli are really good at doing. They always release something that's a standalone later, just in case you missed out. Finally, tournament pack for ITS Season 17. Feels a bit weird me addressing that now, but this is the disadvantage of me being 2 months late to this. It dropped it keeping competitive play fresh with, and not only does Season 17 come with new scenarios, but the box itself came with refreshed and updated prizes. It levels up several things in this edition with which we're already familiar. The wooden spoon, for example, something that I should have more familiarity with than I do. It gets a nice little design upgrade and the prize badge too. But it also gives us the mini that everyone wants this season, the Sarcher. Useful. I've run her in pretty much every list I've got. A really nice way to spread some points. October releases. We're on to another month, just like that already. I think it was October. It must have been October, maybe late October, that brought another, I'm going to say another wave, but that's probably be pre-leading into the next month. And this time we're seeing vehicles, more expansion packs, and also hobby supplies, which I love it when Corvus Belli release those. Boring, but I do love it. Yu Jing, Fei Chen. The flyer for Yu Jing. That looks so cool. This is the big eye catcher. The Fei Chen Imperial Tactical Wing, Yu Jing's new plastic resin aerial vehicle. Comes armed with a multi-rifle and adhesive launcher, giving Yu Jing players a mobile tactical option that looks absolutely gorgeous on the table. Let's face it, this one's really hit the mark with the design. This is the 27-point variant. It's got dodge -3, gizmo kitting on a PH-13, movement is a -6, which is pretty standard across all flyers. No cover, also standard across sensor. Super jump 3 inches, super jump jet propulsion, which is also standard. Tech recovery, which is a fantastic new rule that's come in, which if you're unfamiliar with it because you've been away from the game for a little bit or haven't seen the update, it enables an engineer to cancel a state via a gizmo kit, which used to be an engineer ability that you had to do in base to base, which obviously proved problematic with vehicles because you can never anticipate contact with flyers. Aerial, that's what I'm looking for. Terrain total, X-Visor. The concept art for this had a boarding shotgun and acrolat cannon combo, but the profile in vanilla has no boarding shotgun. So an interesting change from the initial design to what finally got released, if you like those sorts of nuggets of info. It's a relatively low points cost flyer that I think will appear in quite a few lists to give attacking versatility. Mini rating for this one. This may be the coolest flyer we've seen released so far. And that's reflected in the 9 out of 10 score. I have to give this design. I have no choice. Haqqislam. We've got the Hassassin Baram Expansion Pack Beta. So sorry, hot off the back of the Ramah expansion pack in September. We get another one here in October, but this time for the Hassassin Sectorial, which is good to see. This one includes a Rajek with Spitfire, an AR with Shock Marksman Rifle, and an Asawira with AP Spitfire. They're three hard-hitting options for Hassassin's players. I'm super confused by this box though. Like looking at it and again, doing the research that you wouldn't guess what I do with the quality or caliber of presentation that you're receiving. They seem to be out of print minis with all but the Asawira having newer options. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I may be misreading that. I did look on Human Sphere, I did look on Corvus Belli's website, but I may be reading that wrong. The Rajek with Spitfire, 1.5 SWC and 29 points, has combat jump, has dogged, has immunity shock, parachutist, religious, trooper, stealth. It's also got super jump jet propulsion. Then we've got the AR with shock marksman rifle. Look in the comments for people correcting me on my pronunciation here. I really do appreciate it when people do that. Interestingly, yeah, there's shock marksman rifle on the model, but there's actually no shock marksman rifle profile that I could see. So I'm wondering if it's the AP marksman rifle with the drop bears and forward deployment 4 inches for 39 points. I'm not familiar with this faction. I could be completely wrong, but that's just my guess. And so I'm wondering kind of what's going on here potentially. Bang Bomb +4, Holo Projector, Hidden Deployment, Religious Trooper, Specialist Operative, Stealth, Surprise Attack -6, getting a bit of a boost up there from the standard -3. Triangulated Fire. Then we've got the Asawira with AP Spitfire, 1.5 SWC, 38 points, Berserk +3, Dodge +2 inches, Frenzy, MAT, Martial Arts levels, I shouldn't abbreviate, sorry. Regeneration, which is, if you're unfamiliar with regeneration, in the stakes phase, you make a PH roll. If you succeed, you gain back a wound. And this includes cancelling unconscious, so can be situationally very handy to use. But if you fail, you add a wound, which could kill the model. PH 14, so it's not too shabby. You've got a good chance of passing it, but it's never a guarantee. Religious Troop, Stealth, it is a wild card. I do like the profile for this, if I was playing Haqqislam. It's durable with armor 4, it's mobile with 6-2 movement, it's got 2 vitality and the regeneration, so could take some stopping if you're fortunate with your dice rolls with the regeneration. The box, what you see is what you get is 106 points. That's a lot of points. If I'm right about the AR being like the profile that isn't shot marksman or that sort of thing. So bear in mind the Yu Jing expansion pack that we just went through is also a 3-model pack, that Imperial Service Expansion Pack Gamma. That was only 60 to 64 points. So this is incredibly good points for dollars translated. Mini ratings, the Raji. I much prefer the newer design for this model. Even though there's like not a huge change to the model itself, as weird as that sounds. It's just the pose and the dynamism that's a big one there. So what I'm referring to is from the action pack, which I'll obviously show so that you can see it. The one in this box doesn't have that leaping dynamism, simply looks like a normal foot line infantry just with big wings, which, I don't know, just doesn't gel as well as that dynamic pose that we see in the other version. So this, 5 out of 10 for me. This is a weird one. The new one has viral pistols, which admittedly none of the profiles I think have, but none of them have a shock marksman rifle either, from what I could see. This sculpt, apart from essentially having the wrong gun, is absolutely epic though. It's got the skulking presence of a hidden deployment trooper, and that death mask is so cool, and that sniper. Just, I mean, whether it's accurate or not, it just looks good. So 8 out of 10. But can someone explain to me how holo projector and hidden deployment works? Like, do you deploy 2 holo projectors and then the real thing is hidden, or do you just don't do it because that would then give away roughly where that hidden deployment user is? Interesting to hear from those people who actually use that. Asawira, it is an old design, and I think it could benefit from a revamp. I mean, what looked chunky and armor-laden in N3 now looks like what a modern medium infantry would in terms of its armor level. I think it needs a zhuzh. 6 out of 10. Hasn't aged as badly as many sculpts of that time, but it does need to be brought into the modern CB design area. And I sometimes think that about quite a lot of hackers. Like, I do think some of it needs a bit of just a refresh as to how the whole faction looks. There we've got Nomads receiving the Tunguska Triggerman, a compact 2 miniature unit equipped with a multi-sniper rifle, perfect for adding some long-range punch to your Tunguska forces. I'm unsure why this unit has a human and a robot, as Human Sphere doesn't show any lore, so I actually went diving into the M5 lore book. I don't often dive into the lore of units because it's generally easily found, either on the product description or on Human Sphere. But in this case, here's some background in case you can't be bothered to be doing the level of digging that I did late yesterday. Tunguska's hitmen and henchmen. They're basically a step above, Triggermen are a step above those. They're graduates of the Outer University of Tunguska. They are on the career fast track for the corporate criminal organizations for which Tunguska is famous. Their bodyguard remotes offer additional security, protection, and medical support, which is key when we look at the profile. Does this lore align to the unit stats? Well, let's have a look. So the box is 44 or 47 points, which is not cheap, but I'll highlight a few things that warrant that cost. Also 1.5 SWC. It's got 360 visor. It's got BS attack +1 special dice. Keep that in mind. CC attack +1 burst. Mimetism -3. Regeneration, which I'll just run you through thanks to a different unit on PH 14. Stealth. Its stat mode makes it fast and durable, but there are some interesting profiles in here. The decoy version could be fun, but bearing in mind it's a wild card, I'd actually be tempted to use the neurokinetics version and potentially pop that into Link Team to make it a dangerous ARO piece. So the neurokinetics, if you're unfamiliar, reduces the active turn burst on all BS weapons to 1. This isn't a major issue for the Triggerman because it has +1 burst on the Pulsar and the Emerat. You do lose out on the multi-sniper a little bit because that is burst 2 and that goes down to 1. But what you get in ARO is a burst 2 multi-sniper with a special dice. Really good chance of actually being able to win a face-to-face. Add it to a Harry or Harris, you know what you say, with 2 synergistic models, and you might have a beast of an ARO piece because you would get an additional special dice from being with that duo that is named. That could be a burst 2 multi-sniper and ARO with 2 special dice. It's expensive, but it could have some serious stopping power if used well. The Vitality 2, 4 armor, regeneration plus mimetism in cover could make it very difficult to remove too. So mini rating. Part of me finds it hard to process an S4 model with a robot sidekick that doesn't have guard. But that's just because I've been pre-wired by units like the Alpha in O12, Andromeda in Aleph, the Demonist Observant in Bakunin, the Bayara Palace Guard in Imperial Service, Colonel Veronin in Ariadna. So now that I see this, I immediately think it's got to have guard, but this does not. I like this one a bit more now that I get the lore, but unlike some of the aforementioned handle companion combos, this one isn't as magical for me, so unfortunately it's only going to get a 5 out of 10. There was a bunch of hobby supplies launched in October, which I am weirdly into. I didn't realize how much I was. And the thing that I'm probably into the most is these Zeta bases, which you would have seen as the base of choice for the Next Wave release. And so I love having these here because I've got Next Wave and I am going to be building them up. Got 28, 40mm and 55mm. I am obsessed with them. You get 2 of the 55, 4 of the 40s, and 10 of the 25mm. So that's plenty to actually then turn your Next Wave on these. So once I finish my backlog, I'm going to be on to Wave in no time at all. Then we've got the Protocol paint set with the exclusive Kappa missile launcher miniature. Love that they're doing these. I'm all for these, and I'm going to talk about another one in a little bit. And then we get the Akashi Sight Scenery Pack for players looking to upgrade their terrain. If you got into Sandtrap and you've now evolved into bigger points and you need the terrain to match, this is going to be a fantastic addition to your set without paying a premium, which I love about the cardboard terrain sets, even though they're now thinner than they used to be. I still love them and still use them very often. November releases, that's into the 3rd and final month of this video. Now, November is where Corvus Belli really went big, and you may have been living under a rock or been away from the game for a while, but Combined Army is getting a massive wave of new releases. It's clear they're pushing this faction hard, but I love it, and I've done some videos on this already. But we get the Next Wave action pack. It's the centerpiece of the November releases. It's a 10 miniature box, which is a great start. I'm going to go into this in more detail to see whether it's worth getting into and how close it gets you to full army potential. You get 2 Harbingers with combi rifles, that's 13 to 15 points. Rain Dancers, you got one with a Red Fury at 24 points, one with a Contender at 20 points. Contrabandoleros with boarding shotgun for 26 points. Cliff Jumper with boarding shotgun at 22 points. Ironside with APHMG at 44 points. Tech Draken, cool Cyber Dino, 18 to 19, plus Pandora with Viral Pistol for 24 to 29 points. This is essentially a full starter force in one box, giving Combined Army players tons of options right out of the gate, and because there's a little bit of vanilla Combined Army in there, in the Icadrons and Dr. Worm, you could easily add this to your force. I've reviewed this pack as part of the launch hype, but it's a truly interesting faction. Now that the army builder has been updated to reflect points, unlike when I did my initial videos, I can tell that you're looking at 191 points at the low end of what you get, up to 199 points, so basically 200 points. How have you seen that? Juggernauts. Get the beast. Juggernauts Armoured Assault Brigade. Combined Army also get these, which is a massive tag, but with a big difference. It's a tag, I kind of calling it a tag style unit. It is a tag, but it's just not like all the tags we've seen before. If you want to bring big guns to the table, this is your answer. It's got heavy armor, heavy firepower, and it's pure intimidation. It's got some cool skills that mean it's a tag that plays quite differently, for better or for worse. For example, it's CC attack +1 burst, which when you combine that with guard and CC 22, and a DACC weapon that has a PS of 4. It's good at killing things within 8 inches. In fact, you'll be using that over the heady pistol almost every time, because that is going to be lethal. BS 14 with BS attack SR -1. The multi-HMG is cool, but plasma rifle with +1 burst or heavy rocket launcher will be my go-to when I run this for sure. No surprises there. The rifle ends up covering the 8 to 16 range band quite nicely, so it extends out beyond that guard capability. And with burst 4, really good. The heavy rocket launcher then covers the 16 to 32 range band. So you've got every range covered off with this and some cool stats to go with it. Mini rating. This one's going to get a mini rating because I can't help it. I obviously didn't go through the entire Next Wave box, but this is a bit special. We have possibly the biggest tactical rock that Corvus Belli have released since this guy. We have sort of a half mech, half proto-lion creature. Armoured cavalry ridden by an Illyrian lancer. It's ferocious and fascinating. This is going to be a joy to paint and really gives Next Wave a unique tag, unlike anything we've seen before. It's getting a 9 out of 10 for me for a multitude of reasons, mostly because it's just a cool mini. Alongside Next Wave, there was also an exclusive bundle that we need to factor in, and that's the Next Wave exclusive bundle with the pre-order bonus if you're jumping into that about now, still, I think, with the Glyph Warcore mini. So if you're planning to grab the action pack, this bundle gives you the extra exclusive model. It is a playable unit, not just an HVT like we've seen before. But the final thing I want to round out with is the combined army paint set, which I am very, very happy that Corvus Belli and Army Painter have focused on Next Wave as a paint scheme. It's got a Harbinger paramedic, so also gives you that extra model if you need it. And there's also, so one exclusive color designed for Infinity in here, which I think happens on a couple of the sets, but it's really nice to be seeing. This will be exactly what I use to paint my Next Wave army when my pile of potential has been reduced to an agreed upon amount, which has been imposed upon me, but I think it was necessary. So there you have it. A stacked 3 months of releases from Corvus Belli for Infinity. Yu Jing got aerial support. Haqqislam expanded both Ramah and Hassassin. Nomads added more tech and specialists. And Combined Army got an entire new Sectorial released. It's been a monumental 3-month sprint of releases from Corvus Belli. Which releases are you most excited about? Are you picking up the Next Wave action pack? Have you received it already? Have you painted it? Are you doing better than I am on your painting? Let me know in the comments below how you're progressing. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please use the like button and feel free to subscribe for more Infinity content. The notification button is also quite helpful because it tells you when a video has been released. If you want to know as soon as they come out, that's the purpose of the notification button. But before you go, do you want to see a preview of December so that we can start to get excited about what next month looks like too? I know I do. We've got the Zabek Aero unit for Haqqislam. Super June-esque, which is what I was asking for earlier when we were looking at Ramah. I love it. I do really like it. Then we've got the JSA Expansion Pack Alpha. This is some old favourites uniting in a convenient bundle for Oban. We've got the Anaconda getting to freshen up with a timely removal of the tiny little arms hanging out the chest that tags used to love before the rules change. Then we've got Achilles. He needed to come in hot off the heels of the Next Wave, and CB did not disappoint. I mean, they never do, really. What about Warcrow? I've got a box here of stuff to show you. Well, we've got, the biggest tactical rock that Corvus Belli have ever released. What was this? The Northern Tribes Rock Troll, which, I could potentially paint this quicker than anything else, despite it having more plastic than half of my Infinity armies. Talking about big models, we also saw the War Rig come out for Warcrow. This is for the Hegemony, and is a very cool. I love the guy perched there, just like behind the head, kind of like pulling the hair and going left, right, left, right. I'm not entirely sure which months some of these things are coming from. So we've got 2 Yaldabaoths. We've got the Officers here, which look very kind of Bakunin-esque for me, if I was going to liken it to anything in Infinity. And then we've got the Husks, which don't look Bakunin-esque at all. They are just like little skeleton people thing, which I guess is probably their lore for people who know Warcrow stuff. And then another Yaldabaoth, Samari Dithian, which has bony wings. It's kind of like a fallen angel, like a zombie angel type thing. Cyanan, I am familiar with these because they did a big release the other day. This one with a tree growing out of his arm and a bark wing. And Warcrow's getting weird, but like not in a bad way, just in like a, they're really pushing the bones out there. And then I picked these guys up, so Feudum. I thought they were regular soldiers, and I looked really closely, and they've got like skull teeth. What am I even? Do I need some sleep? Am I seeing all this right? Or because then we got this Feudum Genevieve. When I saw this actually on Facebook, I was like, this is what one of the many Joan of Arc releases should have looked like, because this lady standing here on tactical rock, big banner, sword. She's more Joan than any of the 7 Joans that they've released. So, CB, get whoever designed that to also do your next Joan, please. Feudum officers. These look like Renaissance fair type people. I don't know, like, again, I say this in every video, like I'm kind of like Warcrow curious. And then they, launch things like this, and I become like more Warcrow interested, but then just overwhelming the idea of trying to learn new rules when I can barely keep track of N5 and updates there. And that was a big change from M4, and M4 was a massive change from M3. That's everything I've got for you. A big 3-month release, just so that I can catch up on the exciting releases that have happened. But if you stuck around this long, you deserve to hear why it's all been bundled. So I've got things like my birthday in September, which is a bit of a distraction. In October, I run the New Zealand Satellite Tournament, which is obviously a big focus in trying to get that done. I also ran the mission competition, which supplied the missions for that, but then had to assess a whole bunch of community-driven missions. If you've missed the video that announces the winner for that and how I did it, Operation Taradiso, go check that out. That's been released as well. And in amongst all of that, I have made a promise that I can only have 2 factions that are work in progress at any one time before I start another faction. The disheartening thing there is that I have 7 factions that are work in progress, and I just need to get some time on the paint table and get them finished and stop making excuses so that I can move on to things like Imperial Service, which is sitting there waiting to be a future faction. Tunguska, most of my Nomads. Now got Next Wave sitting on my table, which I really want to be opening and playing, but not until I've gotten through the backlog of what I've got in there. So keep me in your thoughts as I slog away at the paint table, but I do love it, and I'm going to keep some content going. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support on this channel, and I'll be back soon with another video.